We're talking now to Sorry Mom. Mom, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Juno. I'm the singer and guitar player.
I'm Kari. I play bass. And I'm Taryn. I'm the drummer.
Could you give me some background about Sorry Mom and how you got started?
Yeah, Juno and I went to college together, so we started off as like a punk cover band in college, and then one day Juno was like, hey, I wrote some original songs, do you guys want to hear them? And I was like, these songs are absolutely amazing. So we got together after college to record some stuff. We met Kari through a mutual friend in Boston, because I'm from Boston, and that's where Kari went to school. And then we formed the Sorry Mom that you know today and started putting out more original music, and yeah, here we are.
Where did you go to college?
Connecticut College.
Uh-huh.
It's in Massachusetts.
And Kari went to Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm familiar with Connecticut College. Were there a lot of bands there for when you were there?
So yeah, actually, there's a pretty small music scene there. There's this group kind of collective on campus called Mob Rock. Musicians organized for band rights on campus, which now that I'm out of school, I can confidently say they should call it Musicians Organized for Men's Rights on Campus, because we were not treated so kindly there.
Yeah, it was very
Things have gotten a lot better since we...
Yeah, I hope so. It was a very male-dominated scene. It was a small scene and it was a strong scene, but it was very male-dominated, so we actively curated a band that had no men in it when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were certainly never allowed to do anything but open.
Yeah, there was a lot of politics around it,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, gender-based politics that you see everywhere, especially in this industry. So.
In my last year of college, actually, was when after Sorry Mom had taken off a little bit and we were doing quite a bit of just touring around the area. I actually became chair of Mob Rock. I started running it that year and was kind of fighting to make it more of an inclusive space, and they actually impeached me as president of Mob Rock because they said that I was playing too many shows off campus.
Oh,
I was
God.
too busy playing music.
Too busy being
Too busy playing
musician,
music to run the music club.
Yeah.
And let me guess, there weren't any problems with people who had previously held that spot?
Well, no, but I guess they weren't playing. No.
You were the first person impeached, yeah.
Kind of a big honor.
Trendsetter. Yes.
Yeah. I was really excited when it happened, actually, because it was very funny.
I'm curious. I mean, given that you were dealing with this male-centered space, what made you keep going and persevering?
I think that one thing we want to do is be a role model for other non-men that want to do music. I think that there are so few people in this space that are successful like that, and especially we're also a queer band, so to be like queer and non-male, Kari's not queer, but for our band, it's a queer band, and I think we just want to be a role model in this space, and that at least keeps me going, is knowing that like when I was younger and wanted to be a musician, there was no one that was like me doing the music I wanted to do, so I want to be that person for other people that are young and coming up or dreaming of doing this too.
We have a lot of young fans who reach out to us and say just very, very kind words about how like they felt inspired by us. They felt like it's been very nice for them to see like women or non-binary people or queer people in the scene, and that was just definitely something I didn't have access to when I was that age. And I was such a music kid at that age. I went to all the Warped tours. I was very into that kind of thing, and I never had that sort of representation for myself. So it feels very cool to get to do that for other people, and that definitely keeps us going.
You know, and it seems as though a lot of bands over the years, the same struggles repeat themselves, because I remember the Riot Girl movement, for instance. Are you familiar with any of those bands, like Bikini Kill?
Absolutely, yeah. We get a lot of comparisons to Bikini Kill, which I think I disagree with, because I don't think they sound anything like them. But I definitely am familiar with that scene. And also with the inherent issues that come with that scene. That, like, it was a space that was created for women, and kind of by doing so became very exclusionary towards many kinds of women that weren't, like, white, wealthy, straight women. So I think now there's actually, there's a huge push sort of away from, I'm forgetting the other name that people have been using, but there is a large push away from Riot Girl into, do you know the name? There's like a new name for it that I've heard a lot recently.
Like a second wave of it that's like renaming itself almost.
Yeah, that's trying to separate itself from like the original racism of the scene.
Yeah.
And the kind of exclusionary vibe that came with that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, do you feel that also punk is becoming not just, do you also hope it might become more open to people who aren't like outside the gender binary or aren't necessarily.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing about the original Riot Girl movement is it was very like cis-normative as well. So not even just like having more women, but having like more trans women or more non-binary people in the scene would be phenomenal. And you know, as a queer group, we're trying to advocate for that as well. So yeah.
Because I also remember there was no overlap between the Riot Girls, or I guess I'd call them the queercore bands or openly gay bands.
Yeah, there's a lot of, well, I mean, when you look at a lot of the people that were spearheading the Riot Girl movement, you get figures like Courtney Love, who, like, you can't deny the influence that she's had on the scene, but you also can't deny that she was standing on stage chanting the N-word, and you can't deny that she was, like, creating a really unsafe space for a lot of people. And I think I'm really, really into this push away from, like, having, like, one, like, person that's, like, spearheading the scene, and, like, this is what's cool, like, and this is how, like, you dress this way, and, like with Riot Girl, a lot of people dress a certain way, and I think there's a big push into more of a community space, which I think is very cool, and something that I'm definitely interested in.
Do you find yourself, crossing paths with other artists who share some of your values in that regard?
Absolutely. I would say absolutely. We've definitely put in a lot of effort to play with other female-led or queer-led bands, which has been very cool. Because a lot of those artists share the same ideals as us.
Yeah, we're actually, we are putting out a new album in May, on May 12th. It's going to be called Babyface, and we're doing a Babyface tour, and our opener that we chose was Froggy, who is this really wonderful, like, queer, female-fronted, non-binary members band out of Philly, and they are so amazing, and one of the reasons why we wanted to work with them is we've had the opportunity to play, like, one-off shows with them in the past, and really felt like we clicked with them, and they had the same kind of values, and we really wanted to make sure that we are working with people that have similar values so we can take them with us.
They're also a lot younger than us, but it feels very, very good to be able to give them the opportunity to, like, tour, like, go on tour with another female band at a young age.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, we've certainly played lots of shows with, well, we're the only woman in this space, we're the only queer people in this space, and we know how that can feel uncomfortable, and it feels good to be able to give younger, like, queer people the opportunity to work with other people in their community. Sorry, I got distracted by that beautiful bird.
I remember when transgender rights were first becoming, I guess, more visible with people like Laura Jane Grace.
Absolutely. She was a huge influence for me. Started back in the day, because I remember one of the first, she was, like, in the Warped Tour scene back in the day with Against Me, right? And that was, like, definitely very influential for me as, like, a young person. She was, like, one of the only, like, trans people that I knew in the scene back then. That was a huge influence for me.
And given, of course, we were in Texas, and with the tax on not just LGBTQ rights, but reproductive rights, do you hope that maybe you can use your music to maybe influence people to take an interest in these issues?
It's something we've certainly tried. I mean, every year we do a zine that we put together, and we get, like, just like people from the community like to submit art, submit writing, and we kind of theme it around. Unfortunately, it seems like every year there's a new issue that we're able to theme it around, but, like, this year we kind of themed it around reproductive rights, and all the money that we made from it was donated to
the National Network of Abortion Funds. Yeah. Every zine that we do each year gets donated to a different charity, and you can buy it till the end of time, and we'll donate it every year to the same charity for that zine. So we do try to do a little bit of work if we can.
And it's actually pretty cool to know that zines still exist.
Not like crazy much, but we're trying to keep it alive a little bit. It still exists, I think, in, like, an underground culture, or, like, digital zines are really popular now because they're a little bit more, like, you can disseminate them
more accessible
masse.
We did
a lot more
when we
accessible.
got started. We actually our first like probably 10 interviews that we did were with, like, zines that reached out to us. Which is very cool, because that was not something that I realized was still as popular as it. Not that it's very popular, but as it is. I mean, that was very cool to be like, oh, there's, like, zines hitting us up for interviews. Like, that's weird. That's cool.
I'm wondering what your advice would be for, like, someone who's younger than you and looking to start a band.
I didn't start the band.
or just get involved in a band or play music?
Yeah.
I would say go out to local shows and not only support like local artists, but also find like-minded people. A lot of the times the people you find at those shows are people that also aspire to play music, so going out and meeting people organically that way is really nice.
I always say, just like playing every day, and like if you don't have a band to play with, like put your headphones in and play along to like your favorite songs. Long before I was in a band, I just got better by like playing to my headphones and playing by myself. And if you love it and you can do it every day, eventually you will attract the right people and you'll find your band soulmates. Not to get all sappy, but you know what?
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I